Everybody, I will call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Do we have any public participation? It doesn't look like it. I think we will probably wait to approve the minutes till see if more people join. But I did want to start off by welcoming our new members. We have Stefan and Lillian here. Christina will be joining a little late, but welcome to you both.
Thank you.
So I think we may wait a little bit to kind of go around and do some introductions because we have some guests on the call tonight. So we have Paul Raymer from ICF, who will be talking about the specialized opt-in building code that we are looking into adopting in Wakefield. So Paul is here to give us a lot of information about that and more details so that we can have everything out there and be as informed as possible. So Paul, I made you a co-host if you want to share.
Well, thank you, Melissa. Appreciate it. Well, there's lots of things I could share, but I don't suppose you want me to start putting up the presentation yet?
Actually, let's hold off 1 minute. Eileen, sorry, I forgot that you're connecting late. If you want to give your school update, because I know that you're on a different time zone right now.
Hi, I'm returned home, but I am still on Ireland time, so it is midnight in my mind.
Oh, okay.
So I just got home a few hours ago. So Gia Hoich for anyone who speaks Irish. It means hello. Yeah, so I just had a couple updates from school committee, which was Dustin O'Brien attended our April 11th meeting and just gave us a couple updates. He's the food service coordinator or director, I should say, at the school. And he said as of January, all of the schools had eliminated all styrofoam trays in the building. He also said that they have a future goal to have all compostable products, and a future goal is to use a vendor that's BPA certified. And what else did he say? Right now, Greenwood and Walton are the only two schools that have the food rescue and composting. And he said another future goal for the school is to extend that to all of the schools eventually. So he didn't give us a timeline on that, but he said that that is a future goal within the school system. And that's all I got.
Eileen, what was the acronym? So you said elimination of all styrofoam, all compostable, and the goal of what?
BPI certified.
EPI?
Yeah.
BPA.
BPI.
Oh, BPI?
Yeah. What is EPI then?
It's B as a boy. BP.
Oh.
It's a certification that Black Earth requires for compostable.
Gotcha.
Products.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Eileen.
Yeah.
All right, we got a few others rolling in here. Okay, so Paul, if you want to start presenting your presentation on the opt-in building code, that would be great.
Righty. Well, let me share my screen if you don't mind. Make sure I got the right one going on here. does that look like the right thing?
Yep, that's great.
Okay. All right. So the new specialized, it's an opt-in code. Governor Baker signed the climate bill in March of 2021, making Massachusetts a climate action leader and updating the 2008 Global Warming Solutions Act. Excuse me. It commits Massachusetts to achieve net zero emissions in 2050. Sorry about that. Our greenhouse gas emissions must be limited to no less than 50% of the 1990 level by 2030 and to less than 75% by 2040. So the question is, how are we going to achieve those goals? Buildings are a key component. New buildings are much easier to address than existing buildings. And new buildings will be about 27% of all building space by 2050. As more buildings move to electrification, the cost of materials such as heat pumps will go down, making it increasingly affordable to address the issues of existing buildings. At the same time, weatherizing and making existing buildings more efficient lowers the loads and makes alternative solutions like more efficient heating and cooling systems more affordable. Solutions that can be more easily achieved with electrification incentives. And at the same time, future needs can be anticipated with EV ready and solar construction and moving towards all electric wiring. Some changes occurred this year with the stretch code beginning in 2023. HERS ratings were lowered, requiring increased energy efficiency. Tight buildings require improved mechanical ventilation, such as heat or energy recovery ventilation. Preparation for the inclusion of electric vehicles was required, and large additions and extensive alterations were addressed. The opt-in specialized code goes a step further. If fossil fuel is going to be included in the design, the building must be pre-wired for future electrification. And if fossil fuel is included, rooftop photovoltaics or PVs must be installed. Large homes, those that are 4,000 square feet or greater, must be certified zero energy. And large multifamily buildings, those that are 12,000 square feet or greater, must use the passive house pathway. And the specialized code lowers the HERS rating to be a bit lower. The opt-in specialized code builds on the stretch code. Starting with the stretch code, it adds making sure that the house is pre-wired for electrification. Adding solar photovoltaics, PVs, are installed on available space and requires parking that is available for vehicles, EV, right? Now, energy efficiency is rated by an efficiency score, a HERS rating. The lower the HERS rating, the more efficient the building. The specialized code requires the building to be 10% more efficient than the present stretch code. Oops, wrong one. The increased efficiency is the primary change between the stretch and the specialized codes. The HERS rating is a combination of many energy efficiency elements. At HERS ratings in the 40s, heat pump homes generally become cheaper to build. The added efficiency means that the heating system doesn't need to be as powerful, and ducting can be reduced or even eliminated. The key to building efficiency lies in attention to detail. And it's important to get together with the HERS rater early on in the process and rely on their experience and their guidance to achieve the best results. And on top of that, there are numerous state and federal incentives. The bottom line is that electrification means a reduction in fossil fuel usage and decreased life cycle costs for all buildings. Just so you have a picture of the state as it is, as of May 3rd this month, 15 towns have adopted the specialized code. The commercial aspects of the specialized code have numerous options and details that should be discussed with a passive house verifier right from the beginning of the process to get details right and get the greatest advantage of the significant improvements in energy efficiency and comfort. There are a number of frequently asked questions. Does the opt-in specialized code apply to existing structures? No. Existing structures, depending on size, are regulated by the updated stretch code and base code. Will the opt-in specialized code discourage the creation of affordable housing? No, incentives will continue to encourage affordable housing while the opt-in specialized code benefits the residents. Is it possible to install a gas cooktop? I was just at an appliance store yesterday and we're busy taking orders for gas cooktops, which quite surprised me. But it is permitted under the mixed fuel pathway. Why adopt the opt-in specialized code? Well, the number one reason is that it requires pre-wiring, which would avoid costly retrofits down the road. And why does the opt-in specialized code permit fossil fuels? Well, it preserves market choice at a time when utility pricing is highly volatile and utility costs vary 300% among mass communities. So there you are. As the name implies, this is an opt-in code. It's up to you whether your community wants to take efficiency, comfort, and greenhouse gases impact another step forward. And those are some resources. Melissa, you'll have these slides so that you can put them up for people. And then if there are any questions, I'm going to keep that one up there. Are there questions?
I have a question. Thank you, Paul, for doing that. Julie Smith-Galvin. I'm a town councilor here in Wakefield. For multifamilies, is there a number of multifamilies or is it strictly square footage?
I'm not sure. It's
So,
square footage.
it's square footage, so it's not like, okay, so it could be just a 2-family as long as the square footage is over the 12,000.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
quite a 2-family.
I know, but okay. And then talking about the gas cooking, when you said the mixed fuel pathway, I might have missed that. Does that mean that if they are putting in gas, even just for cooking, then that would trigger the use of fossil fuel? And
that would make it a mixed fuel, takes the mixed fuel pathway. There's an all electric pathway and then there's a mixed fuel pathway.
And the mixed fuel then would require like the solar panels and the wiring and all of that.
Right.
Okay. And I just maybe for context, especially for the new people. So Wakefield is a green community, which means that we adopted the stretch code about 2 years ago. And Benny, who's our building inspector, is on the call and he's listening, and he can definitely, we will have him back and fill us in and kind of what this means for Wakefield as well, but we wanted this baseline. So we already have the stretch code. This would now then be a decision as to whether we wanted to opt into the more rigorous one that would help the town and the state get to the net zero goals.
That's right.
So I just wanted to give that context, Melissa.
Yeah, thanks, Julie.
Sure.
I don't know if you maybe want to explain a little bit better the passive house, because for those that don't know.
Sure. Let's see. Yep. That's not it. So Passive House was a program that was developed in Germany, basically, and it has much tighter requirements than the HERS scores. For example, right there at the top, standard house has to reach about 3 air changes per hour at 50 pascals of pressure, which is how they test it. So you can see with Passive House, it's 0.6 ACH, so it's much tighter. If you get into you can use the Passive House approach for regular homes, but it's a requirement for multifamily with the specialized code. So you need a Passive House verifier right from the beginning to explain all of those nuances that are required.
And do you have any costs associated with how much more would cost the developer for the opt-in code versus the other specialized code?
I don't. What I've found, I am a HERS rater myself, but what I've found is that it's really a focus on the details all through. And I think that it's really important to get together with the HERS rater or the Passive House verifier right from the beginning, so you can take advantage of their knowledge and skills. And the costs are so varied that it's very hard to pin a number down particularly between stretch and specialized. I wish I could.
I mean, in a town like Wakefield with a municipal light department and fairly competitive electric rates, there must be some advantages there. I would think that might be something that we want to look into as we start kind of making our case for Wakefield. I mean, if indeed kind of the variability that you talked about in one of your slides between utility rates, which is why they're preserving this optionality, it would be interesting to look at that.
Yep.
Not to mention we have and I don't think our light department representatives but we have a moratorium on multifamily interconnections for gas. We also have a municipal gas company. So there's really not much option for multifamilies or commercials.
Is the moratorium on gas for heat or cooktops too?
It's for any input into any line into the house, I believe.
Got it. And that's multifamily over a certain number of units?
I think it's does anybody else know? I think it's multifamily over 4, but I'm not 100% sure.
But they can always choose to do oil.
Yes, that's been one of our problems with the gas moratorium here, it's more kind of a curtailment because of supply constraints. But yes, the people have gone to gas or other heating instead of electric.
Anybody else have questions?
I had one. Thanks, Paul, for this. Could you just remind us what the timing is of when the code goes into effect relative to when a community chooses to adopt it?
Well, the DOER suggests you give it 6 months and try to set it up so it would come like at the first of the year, for example. So, you have to decide to adopt it, and then I think you get to decide, when to do it.
Thanks.
Sure.
So we would have to adopt it at a town meeting, which we hold in either May or November. Just so people would know what we were looking at. So the earliest we would look at doing something like this would be November. Go ahead, Robin.
So, Chris, I was actually given today a similar diagram that Paul had, but in addition to locating which communities have opted in, it listed their date of effectiveness. So there are 5 communities that are going into effect as of July: Watertown, Brookline, Cambridge, Somerville, and Newton. And then the remaining communities listed are January of next year. So that's Lincoln, Lexington, Boston, Wellesley, Arlington, Truro, and Sherborne. So some of the July 1st effective dates were because on January 2nd, their city councils voted on it. So that's how they got a 6 months in immediately. I should
think if we decide to bring this to town meeting in the fall, we were talking about before having it be effective July 1st, 2024. So that would be more than 6 months notice, basically.
I'll also add that I've only heard of one community that has taken it to town meeting and it's failed. So I'm not saying that there's not been others, but the community I heard, it was basically that they didn't inform people and they didn't feel like they could vote on something they understood. And the planning committee, who I guess brought the warrant article, felt like they couldn't answer questions. So it may have been not well, people weren't prepared to talk about it. It wasn't necessarily conceptually against them, they just didn't have all the answers.
I think we learned from passing the stretch code that it's really important to understand it and to talk to different people and to have our building inspector there to answer questions. He was critical to getting us the stretch code through.
I think it's really important for the building inspector to be able to rely on the HERS raters too. I mean, it's not supposed to add extra work to the building inspector.
Paul, thank you very much for that. Benny DeCristoforo, building inspector. Paul, I want to thank you for that, and I can tell you we solely do rely on them. DOER has kind of pushed all this, and I don't know if you're aware of it, but our association, we're a little in the dark in this. It kind of hit us pretty hard and pretty quick. There's a lot of conflicts that are showing up, but we do truly rely on the HERS rater.
Yeah, you have a tough job.
Thank you for noticing.
I was curious, how many HERS raters and passive house inspectors are
verifiers?
Verifiers are there in the state, and are these new requirements going to create bottlenecks in getting those reviews to happen?
It shouldn't. I don't know how many HERS raters there are in the Wakefield area, but there are quite a few in the state.
Okay. Sounds like that would be a good business to get into real quick.
I think that way back when the stretch codes were coming in, that it was kind of scarce. And you know, as in anything, as there is more demand, there are more people. And just so you understand, with the HERS raters, it is a pretty rigorous process to go through, and there's a lot of oversight in the ResNet organization that they do what they say they should do.
Just quickly Googling it, Tatiana, it doesn't list individuals, but a list of companies that offer it. I'm looking at dozens, not hundreds, but dozens of companies that do. I've worked with a whole bunch of them, so it's not like, you know, everyone goes to the same people.
Okay, that's good.
But good question to ask. There are less passive house folks, but there are a lot of people recognizing that it is a service that they might want to be able to offer.
And is a HERS rater that somebody you bring in at the beginning of the like would a developer or a homeowner bring that person in early? I think that's what you're recommending, Paul, and then they would stay with them through the process and then be the final verifier of the number?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they come in, they do, I mean, just like in anything else, there are really good ones and there are some sort of less good ones. But the ones that are good, they certainly, you know, when I was doing it, I was working with the homeowner or the builder right from the get-go, advising them on insulation and how to meet the standards, how to get to those lower HERS ratings, because the attention to detail is really what gets there. And it can be done throughout the process. And so they come in and they do the blower door testing, they do the duct pressure testing, all of those issues. And that's a lot of that is paid for by DOER.
Okay, so there are some assistance to have that done.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. And then I think somebody asked about the cost, which I do think is a really good question, but I think probably the long term, just like with the stretch code, you can look out over time at energy savings and where the break-even point is. That information must be available.
Yeah, they DOER did develop some cost numbers, but I think they're working on refining those as the questions, because as Benny mentioned, it all came in pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I think that the information that they put out first was a little bit erroneous and not clear.
Correct. That's kind of what a lot of the building officials are dealing with right now. But is my understanding, Paul, you might be able to answer this. I understand that the opt-in code is going to be rolled into the 2024 energy code.
The opt-in code, let me go back here. So let's see. So
I'm sorry, into the stretch code.
Yeah.
So
the stretch code, as of January, for example, mixed fuel, HERS 52, and then it will go to HERS 42 in July 1, 2024. So even if you don't opt into it, you're going to need to go to those numbers anyway.
Right. So with that 6-month period, I mean, is there any advantage of pursuing this now?
Well,
Well,
yes.
I was gonna say, Paul, I mean, it is more than just the HERS rating as part of the opt-in. There are other things that it's looking at, right? It's not just meeting the index.
There are, but you know, it's a lot of it is, you know, what you want to be at the leading edge. And I think if you were doing a lot of commercial stuff, then you know, you might want to get in early just to sort of get builders and HERS raters prepared for when it does go from 52 to 42.
I can't recall if I asked this the last time, Robin, when you presented this material initially, and I don't remember if we actually were able to answer it at the time. Does the date when this takes effect, is that relative to the building construction start date, completion date, move-in date? Like what is the, relative to the building, what is the effective date about?
It's when you get the permit.
The building permit.
Right, and you have 2
Okay.
years from when you pull a building permit before it expires, but you can ask for extensions, but the point is if people see this coming and they said, oh my God, I'm gonna rush and
Well,
create drawings and not do anything for a while, it
Well-
isn't you're not grandfathered forever to let it, a thing.
Got it.
That's
Okay.
Well, so just one thing I'd like to add is that typically in code additions, the state, the BBRS, our governing body who creates the building code, basically there's a 6-month concurrency period. And when DOER enacted the new energy code, there was no concurrency period. So basically there was a hard stop at January 1 for the new energy code, which quite frankly is a little difficult because you have people that design projects typically 2 or 3 months in advance of, when they want to pull the building permit. And sometimes there's situations where their design brings them back even further than that, or further, beyond that. So it's very difficult for designers and architects and engineers and mechanical engineers to basically deal with a hard stop date for new code. But Robin, just to clarify, no, once you pull a building permit, you have 6 months to activate it, and then you can ask for another 6-month extension. So there's 1 year that you basically have to enact your building permit.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, so I think since the design happens way earlier than the building permit gets pulled, if we, voted on this, and it signified that, this is coming to all the developers that are planning on, constructing buildings in Wakefield, which, there's going to be a lot of large construction going on in this town in the next few years. So if we, vote on this, the sooner the better for, the designers of these buildings.
So the high school project team reached out to me and asked me if this is on, the town's radar and kind of the feeling, because if there's an inkling of it, they do like to know. So I explained that it will not be on spring town meeting, but it could be in the fall. And so they could choose to start meeting a standard that exceeds the code. And that may be discussed, with the building committee on, do they want to do that, or you kind of get a sense, pulse on the project. But, so some developers will think ahead and others may not.
That's good to know that they're asking about that.
Yep.
Anybody else have any other questions? Benny, do you have any specific ones for Paul?
Not really at this point, no. But I will once, if we decide to move forward. I think, and quite frankly, even on the stretch code, I think it's beneficial because the new energy code is going to be rolling in, and I could tell you, because the OER is really driving this, some of the building officials are a little behind in the knowledge of it. So maybe if you do like to present this at town meeting in the fall, it may be smart to have Paul or some HERS rater there that is a little more knowledgeable than myself, because depending on how it rolls into the building officials educationally. So that might be an advantage to have someone like Paul there.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
The more you know, the better it is.
Always good to have a subject matter expert around.
I've been doing it for about 40 years, so don't want to go down rabbit holes.
Okay, yeah, so I will circulate these slides. Thank you, Paul, for presenting, and thanks for your time and joining this meeting. Benny, thank you for joining as well.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, we will be in touch. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so sharing the agenda, going back to the approval of the minutes from April. Hopefully we have enough people.
We have quorum.
Okay, but we also have some new people that may not want to vote, but we can,
Well, we're 10 voting members, so we need 6 to be able to approve last month's minutes. You do not require to have attended a meeting to approve minutes.
okay,
So I'd like to motion the approval of April's minutes, the revised version that was issued this week.
Second.
Sorry, who
Sorry,
seconded?
Tiana second.
Thank you.
all right, so this is where we go around and ask people to say yes or no that they vote in favor of approving the minutes. So I'm just gonna go around and call people's names. Chris.
Melissa, can I jump in? Am I needed any longer?
Oh, no.
Oh, thank you. All right, thank you very much for having
Thanks,
me.
Benny.
Okay,
All right,
thank
bye-bye.
you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, Chris,
Hi.
Robin,
Aye.
Julie,
Yes.
Tiana,
Yes.
Anne,
I'll say yes. I wasn't here, but I did read the minutes and they look good.
Christina,
I'll say yes as well. I'm new, but I did review the minutes.
Lillian,
I'm in the same boat. I'll say yes as well.
Stefan,
Abstain.
that's fine. All right, thank you very much. Okay, next item is welcoming our new members. We have them all here now, so thank you so much for joining our committee. So I think probably go around and introduce everybody. It will introduce themselves, and you guys can introduce yourselves as well. So I'm Melissa. I've been the chair of the committee for the last year. I've lived in Wakefield for about 4 years now, and work on a lot of waste reduction initiatives in town, especially at the schools. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working with you guys. Robin?
I'm Robin Greenberg. I've lived in Wakefield for over 10 years. I am a practicing architect who currently is working on K-12 schools. So I, as much as I can, I'm trying to pay attention to the school projects here in town and their impact to sustainability and those interests.
Chris?
Welcome, everybody. Chris Lewis. I moved to Wakefield in 2020, and I work in engineering and planning for energy efficiency and climate action. So here on the subcommittee, I'm working on the greenhouse gas inventory and climate action planning, hopefully, subcommittee. So welcome everybody to the committee.
Julie?
Did you say me?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're so happy to have you. Julie Smith-Galvin, member of the committee, member of town council. So I'm the town council representative to this committee. By day, I do marketing and communications for clean energy companies. and I work on green communities and on the land use committee. And I've lived here about, say, my 22 years. I guess.
And Julie's the reason our committee exists.
It was the first action I took when I became town councilor, was get this committee set up. And I'm very proud of it. We've done amazing work in a very short time.
Julie, did you get a Facebook memory either yesterday, today about it?
No.
It is. This is our anniversary.
So how many, what is this, 4 years? Must
I
be, 'cause
guess
I've been
so.
on the council 5 years.
So 5 years, I guess.
It took me about a year to get it onto their agenda.
Gotta be 5 years because it was here before I was here.
2019.
So 4 years.
So we had our first meeting 2019.
We've done amazing work. And I just want to say Melissa did, maybe I should do this during my report, but Melissa did a great job representing us in front of the council a few weeks ago.
Thank you. Tiana?
Hi, folks. I'm Tiana. By day, I'm a product management consultant and coach. Recently launched my business doing that. It's focusing on clients in the sustainability space, wherever possible anyway. And I have been leading up the community education subcommittee, trying to spread the word about all the great stuff we're doing and ways that people can take action in their own lives and be more informed. And I help out a lot on waste reduction initiatives also. I've been in Wakefield for 4 years.
Anne?
Hi, everyone. I'm Ann Waite. I work for the Public Works Department. I love this committee, so I always come instead of Joe. I have to arm wrestle him to come, but I win. So here I am.
All right, so we have some student members as well. William, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm William Buswell. I'm been in Wakefield my whole 16-year life. I'm a student, non-voting member, and I'm the captain of the recycling club at my school, and I'm also part of the community education subcommittee.
Eliza?
Hi, I'm Eliza. I've also lived in Wakefield my entire life. I'm one of the student members. I go to the high school, and I joined this committee because I wanted to help the town be better and have better sustainability.
Thank you. So have the new members introduce themselves. Christina?
Hey everyone, I'm Christina. I've been in Wakefield for 14 years now. And I'm a business owner in Wakefield, and I work in the schools as well. So I'm a pediatric occupational therapist by day. And just a little bit about why I'm here is that I feel like I've done everything on an individual level, like, solar panels on the house and, electric vehicles and composting, all the things that I can do as a, community member. And I have been feeling that pull to kind of be part of a group so I can just be part of something bigger. So I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Lillian?
Hi, guys. I'm Lillian. I've been in Wakefield for almost 6 years. By day, I work part-time in the marketing department for an association management company that's here in Wakefield. And I'm also doing some PR freelance writing on the side. And yeah, I've been interested in environmental issues as long as I can remember. When I was 6 years old, I painted my bike green and blue, and I called it the Earthmobile, and I picked up litter with it. So I'm very excited to be joining you, and I hope I can do some good work for the town.
That's great. Stephen?
Hi, I'm Stephen Spears. I've been in Wakefield, I think 6 years, or we've owned the house 6 years. I've lived here for 5. My normal life is mostly software oriented, but I always have, for the bulk of my career, worked at energy companies, either doing energy earlier in my career, or doing consulting for energy, or now I'm doing things related to interconnection life cycle management. So I've also done a little bit of work in carbon, but again, as a software person, so I'm not the expert guy, but I'm try to always work in the sustainability space to the greatest extent possible. My primary driver for joining the committee was mostly about my children, of course. They're younger, and I think taking a slightly bigger action than just composting in the backyard would be something to help make the world a better place for them.
Great. Well, welcome to you all. Happy to have you here. So our next topic is we have a committee election. So we change the roles of the leaders of the committee every year. So we're coming up on a new year right now. So we have a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. Those are the positions. So we need to decide on who will be in those positions for the coming year. Anybody
Remind us the process for how we do that. Do we say I nominate
Great
Melissa,
question.
or do we have like what's the? It was only my first meeting last year when we did this, so I have zero recollection of what it entails to like actually elect.
I think Robin's probably the expert.
Well, Julie does it more than me, but it's like everything. There's a motion and there's a second and there's a vote. If there's more than one person, there's discussion. And
Actually, technically under Robert rules, you don't need a second on leadership. It's the only vote I've ever seen that doesn't need a second. But you can do it if you want to do it.
like I said, Julie has more experience than I, so thank you. And the order of which the positions that I don't know. I mean, if we were in physical, you actually change seats. So the chair, people, get up, and so the chair sits and wherever the chair sits, but.
Interesting. Musical chairs.
I don't think it matters which one you start with.
Okay, then I motion to make Melissa chair again because she's doing a great job, and I'm not aware of anyone else who's raised their hand to want to do it. But please tell me if that is not the case.
I'll provide the unnecessary but optional second on that nomination.
Do we go around and vote, or is that it?
Does anybody else have anybody else that wanna? Yeah. You want to say anything, Melissa, to convince us that you should?
Well,
Are you willing? I mean, I guess we have to
are
know
you
that you're
willing? I guess that's the question.
I have a year experience.
And you've done a wonderful job, I will say.
Thank you. Yeah, it would be an honor to be the chair again for this committee. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and definitely have unfinished business and lots of stuff to do. So on to another year. All right, so thank you.
Do we have to?
We need a roll call vote. We do need a roll call vote.
Oh, okay. Robin?
Enthusiastically, yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Deanna?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
Lillian?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thanks, everybody. I motion to make Tiana the vice chair.
Unnecessary second.
Thank you, Julie. I am willing.
Any other takers?
I'm willing, but based on a prior comment, I wouldn't arm wrestle Anne for it.
All right, go around again. Robin?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Chris?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I don't know, Tiana, if you get to vote on yourself, but.
Do I?
Yes, you do. Of course you do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
Lillian?
Yes.
Steph.
Yes.
All right. Congrats, Tiana.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
All right. I motion to have Robin continue to be the best secretary we've ever had.
So because she's the only secretary we've ever had?
Exactly. So much experience.
Unnecessary
That's-
second.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd only accept that Tatiana can be my proofreader.
Yeah, Tiana.
Tiana.
Oh, there we
But
go.
yes, I will. I will continue to be your proofreader. Happy to do it.
All right. I am a yes. Chris,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Tiana,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Lillian,
Yes.
Stefan.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We have our election complete. So next item is to have some updates from our subcommittees. So for new people, this will kind of give you a better idea of the work that each subcommittee is doing, and would love for all of you to join at least one subcommittee. And all of the subcommittees kind of have a different meeting schedule. So if people can kind of explain, you know, what the work that you've been doing in the committee, and then kind of the meeting schedule, that'd be helpful. So I can go first. So I am running the waste reduction subcommittee, working with Tiana. We've been doing lots of different things in town, lots of different work at the schools. Started the composting and food rescue programs at the Walton and Greenwood schools this year, and hoping to expand it to other schools soon. Just found out that the school facilities department has added composting to their school budget for the coming year. So still looking at, you know, which schools they're targeting to do composting. If it's all,
Did they budget enough for all 4 elementaries if all 4 do it, or just the ones that are doing it now?
I haven't gotten any details. I've just been told that it's going to happen. So be hopefully getting some more details from Tim O'Brien, the head of facilities, soon, and, you know, working closely with him as much as possible to implement the composting at the schools. And we've also been working on trying to get recycling services mandated at multifamily buildings in town, because right now the DPW doesn't service buildings over, is it 4 units, 2 units?
Four.
Over 4 units. So buildings that are 4 or more units have to contract for their own waste services.
Just to clarify, we do up to 4.
Okay.
Five.
Over 4.
Yeah.
So over 4 units have to contract for their own waste services. And so it's really up to, you know, the building owner to supply trash and recycling. And we found out there's a number of them that are not supplying recycling. We've heard from many residents in those buildings that they want recycling at their buildings. So we are looking at the possibility of either creating a town bylaw or some sort of health code. We're working with the health department on what our options are. So it's one big initiative that we're spearheading. And we're also looking into naming green businesses in town, like having some sort of certification for businesses to, you know, if they check, you know, a bunch of different things off our list, and they'll be kind of stamped as a green business. They can show that off in their store. And so that, we're hoping that that would maybe, get more businesses to, be more sustainable, take on different actions. And so, they can show that they're a green business. So that's one thing that we are looking into. We work with the town economic director on compliance for the existing waste reduction bylaws for polystyrene and plastics. So we work, try to get more businesses to comply with those bylaws, education, stuff like that. Am I missing anything, Tiana?
I think you got it.
Okay. And we meet on the third Wednesday of the month, second Wednesday of the month, something like that. It varies. But second or third Wednesday. And yeah. We are welcome anybody who wants to join us in our efforts. I guess one update that we are participating, our committee is participating in STEAM night tomorrow night at the Galvin. And so we're going to be doing kind of like a waste sort activity with the kids. We're going to have like a trash recycling and compost bin and various items where they can, figure out which bin that the item goes in. So kind of a waste sort game for them. We also have some worksheets for them to fill out on, reducing their waste and reducing their plastic, so they can kind of take a pledge to do so. So that's one thing.
If you have kids in the K-4 space, this aimed at K-4, it's tomorrow night at the Galvin, 5:30 to 7. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep, that's all I had for waste reduction. Land protection, Julie, I guess you're the lone representative.
I'm the only surviving member of land protection. So please, I hope we'll get some new members. So Sean Cash was our chair, and Myra was also on it with me. We do have Judy Green, who is a town employee who used to work with our Conservation Commission, and I think is still the clerk to the Conservation Commission. She regularly attends and is a huge help. She understands kind of all the conservation and open space areas around town. But essentially our charge is to, just what it says, look at land protection, but also look at open spaces and recreational areas. And to that end, we really have two major initiatives going on. One is the town got some funding to do a town-wide open space plan, to update a plan. And so there's a survey open, a public survey open right now. It's open until this Friday. So if anybody hasn't taken it, please go in and take it. I have to say, I consider myself pretty up to date with what's happening around town. There are a lot of places, open spaces that I didn't even recognize the names of. So, and I think in a lot of ways that's really hopeful and helpful. I wish I had gone to look at the map that was on the Conservation Commission's webpage while I was taking the survey. So that's just a little tip if you're really interested where they are. And if not, there's a lot of NA or I'm not aware of this. But please take that survey, because that will help inform kind of how we market them better, how we make them more accessible to people. The other thing that's happening in parallel with the open space plan is looking at all the tax titles. So there's a lot of land around Wakefield that Wakefield owns just because for some reason or another over the last century, people didn't pay taxes and the town acquired the land. And so we're laying that kind of map over our open spaces map. And then hopefully, then we'll look at what maybe could go into conservation protection. So what happens a lot of times is tax title land, a neighbor says, oh, that's tax title land, I want to buy it. It comes to town council and town council says, okay, you can buy it or we'll put it out for bid. So we're going to, instead of doing those kind of ad hoc, this open space plan and tax title will look at everything and decide as a community what we want to keep in conservation. So it will be kept there in perpetuity. The other thing that we're working on is developing a trail stewards program. So there's a town forest in town that has some trails that Boy Scouts, actually some Eagle Scouts have done a lot of work on. And so the trails that are more well-known and established, we're developing a voluntary trail steward. So the Conservation Commission basically swore in, I don't think they actually swore in, but identified, accepted 3 applications for steward trails at their meeting last week. And the applications will be open on a rolling basis, and there's a handbook, and there'll be a certain area, a small area that's assigned, and it's just a volunteer, go out, clean it up, maybe alert the town if there's any tree cutting or if there's any things that need to be cut back. But that's going to be a really exciting program. So those are the 2 main initiatives. And then we always just talk about other kind of, we spent a lot of time yesterday talking about vernal pools and arbor issues. And actually, Tiana, I have a whole list of things that Judy gave me for public outreach. Like, who knew it's like National Wetlands Month. So
No kidding.
and that UMass Amherst has a whole list of native plants and things that she thought would be a really good resource.
Fantastic.
So I have some things
send it over.
I need to send you for that. So please come join us. I think this is an anomaly that we're meeting on a Wednesday, right? Don't we generally?
Yeah, we usually meet the second Thursday, but we are doing STEAM tomorrow, so.
That's right. So we usually meet we try to meet the week before the ESC meeting on a Wednesday night, if that fits in with anybody's schedule or helps. Though I have to say, since I'm the only one left, we can be back flexible to whatever works for the people who are interested. Thanks.
All right. Building efficiency.
Hi, so like Julie, it's a committee of 1. So there is no meetings, but per se, but I do, like I said, I try to listen into the permanent building committee meetings for both the high school and the vocational school when they are advertised and available for me to go to. Some updates on the high school. Tomorrow is the first reconvening of user groups in the MEP, so mechanical, electrical, plumbing / sustainability subcommittee meeting is tomorrow that I'm participating in. There's another one in June. So just a reminder for folks, they did a study, they did some schematic design. We had a big town vote to appropriate and agree to a large amount of money, but that's the high school takes. And now we're in the next phase, which is design development. So it's the refinement of decisions, application of them on a more detailed level, as that name includes. So, the commitment and schematic design was electric building as part of that energy park. I imagine folks, if you're at town meeting, you would have had the chance to vote on, because it is a joint project between the high school, the vocational school, and the gas and light department. So that is, how the project is proceeding, and I'll learn more tomorrow on kind of where the project is at. From a vocational standpoint, I do not have anything to share in terms of much about the details of the building, but I can tell you that they are saying that the drawings will be ready in July for 100% completion. So they are proceeding with the assumption that they receive all approvals from the regulatory folks.
I heard that the zoning board approved them.
Yes, the question over how zoning, the home rule question, was resolved.
So it really just sits with the Conservation Commission, right?
Yes. As far as I know.
Yeah, we got an update, sorry, on land use yesterday on that. They are still working through some of the stormwater issues, but I think it's probably 1 or 2 meetings away from a final vote.
So if folks, and I mean, just for the new folks, in addition to paying attention to the high school projects, I do kind of keep an eye out on the regulatory standpoint on the state level, of building code changes that may impact not just municipal projects, but developments and so forth. So, the stretch code was a big one. Fingers crossed we have a new building code come 2024, because the current one is 6 years old, and the people who write it actually write updates every 3 years, and we have not adopted one in a while. So if folks have any questions, feel free to ask.
Chris.
Any question, Robin? Are you connected at all with, as the building efficiency group, the energy conservation projects that are coming soon? I think because of the Green Communities grant that we got, weren't there some projects at some of the schools that were selected? Julie, I think knows about those.
That's a DPW question, because they're working with Town Hall on what the list was based on the funding. So no, I haven't seen that list. I can say that I attended what is it called? The capital project committee, Julie, that I
Capital
went
Planning
to.
Committee.
Yeah, and I spoke up on the I like to see things that are focused on efficiency and life cycle costs and so forth. So Joe Conway, the DPW commission, attended, and he said, yeah, that's how he was looking at capital projects. But I haven't seen a list.
Give me a minute to pull it up. Maybe I can report on it in the Green Communities Committee.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, the next subcommittee is volunteer coordination, which was spearheaded by Dan Noren, a previous committee member. So he was kind of working on his own with that, and the work he was doing was basically, so at every event we do, we try to get some people to help help us as a volunteer instead of a committee member. And so we were soliciting for volunteers at various events. We had a number of people sign up to be a volunteer, so Dan was kind of coordinating those people and getting them to help us at various events or join different subcommittees. So we would love to have somebody continue to work on that and get more volunteers to help us in various ways. So that is basically the gist of that subcommittee. The next one is greenhouse gas inventory.
Yeah, so Melissa and I have been working on that, and so our first step was just basically compiling the inventory, and we used a tool, an Excel spreadsheet based tool provided by the MAPC that a few other neighboring communities actually developed and have used for their inventory of greenhouse gas emissions. So that was an interesting process. We learned a few things about not only just the various sources of emissions, but also kind of like the data that goes into those and how that plays out with what's actually going on in town, and kind of accuracy and timing of that data collection. But got to the point where we had a emissions inventory, which we sort of put together a little slide deck to just summarize some findings from that. Melissa recently presented that to town council as part of broader updates on the committee's work. And in our last meeting, we were just sort of talking more about, okay, what do we do now? And I think a couple of the themes that we're thinking about now are, what to do with the information we have already to get it out there and just kind of let people know what's going on, and also providing some context by benchmarking our emissions with maybe other communities that are similar, on a per capita basis, or just sort of give some other context to what our emissions baseline is, and the various different sources, so that people can kind of connect with it. And then beyond that, we're also just thinking about taking the next step and trying to come up with an emissions reduction plan or a climate action plan of some kind. And so we're exploring some pathways for possible grant funding to help support that, and other like resources, private consultants, or working with MAPC again to sort of how to think about that, how to frame what the scope of that planning process should look like, and yeah, kind of come up with a plan for the plan. But that's sort of where we are with the committee right now. And our meetings are not very regular. They're a little bit ad hoc, but Melissa and I have been working on them, and we'd love to have more participation, especially as we get into, or if we were to get into more of a real planning process, which we also discussed should definitely include a healthy dose of just full town community engagement and opportunities for input from everybody. But definitely would be happy to have others on the subcommittee to help us think through the next steps there.
Great, thanks, Chris. Julie, Green Communities.
Wait, it's opening. Okay. So we became a green community in probably the end of last year, which was a pretty big deal. We were pretty late. There's 351 towns in the Commonwealth, and there were well over 300, I think, already in, but we are one of the earlier ones when you consider the 40 municipal utilities that are in the state. So long story short, I think this is opening. That essentially, so we as part of that, we had to adopt the stretch code. We had to put a fleet policy in place for our vehicles, and make commitments to buy energy efficient vehicles for other than some exemptions. We had to allow renewable energy by right in a certain area of town, which was actually already in our zoning documents. And the big thing is that we had to agree to reduce our energy consumption, our municipal energy consumption, by, oh gosh, I feel like it's 5%, but that seems low, but by a significant amount in 5 years.
I thought it was like 50%.
It's like 50. Yeah, I think in 5 years. It's 5 years. Yeah, but it's a significant amount. So in any case, what happens is the Department of Energy Resources that Paul was referencing earlier gives grants for all of these things. So just by virtue of becoming a green community, we received $180,000 in grants. And it looks like we're going to spend the first year of this converting lighting, LED lighting at Town Hall, the public safety building, which I realize is under construction, but the fire part was not touched. So on both the fire and the police department side and the AmeriCal building. So essentially, what and you may have more on this, but what the note from Joe Conway, our director of DPW, says that the grant, along with the DPW operation funds, will allow for the complete conversion of Town Hall, the Civic Center, the police and fire department to LED lighting and controls. So that's what we're spending the first part on. And then if we can successfully do that, we will apply for funding for every year going forward. So I don't think we're starting with the schools. I think we decided to start with the lighting. And that's it. And so the Green Communities Committee really doesn't meet. I mean, but we may, as this now gets up and running. It met as we were doing the application, but it hasn't met so much for the implementation.
So if we can show that we have put the LED lighting in all those places, then we're eligible for more grant money.
Yeah. Once we complete that, we'll just keep going back for grant money. And I know, and we have a whole, I can circulate it around. We have a whole plan about this. We had consultants do baselines on all of our buildings. And I think somebody said earlier, definitely the schools are part of that. Quite honestly, the new high school is going to get us to our goal. But obviously we're going to do a lot of other things as well. And again, this is just municipal load. Five.
Okay. Thank you. Last but not least, community education.
Thank you. So I lead the community education group with William. Sean and Dan were also members, but they have departed us. We're really focused on spreading the word in town about the various things that are going on and ways that people can make a difference or, greenify their own lives and households. So we have a Facebook presence and post on the order of every other day about something sustainability related. Everyone in the committee and various folks around town are very welcome to send things to me to post, or to whoever. If someone wants to take over being the person who posts, I am happy to give that honor up. But we post a bunch of stuff and try to share it with some of the community groups, Facebook groups in town. Especially when there are events, when there's, Sustainability Day, or when we're going to be at the farmers market, or if we have a speaker or different things like that, we try to make sure that we really get the word out there. But also just, tips. Hey, it's National Wetlands Month. Here's what you can do to protect a wetland near you, those sorts of things. We also have an email announce list where we send things, again, particularly timely things about events, as well as we recently experimented with sending a digest of the most relevant info posts. And then we've been hosting a speaker series. So we've had 2 real live in-person speaker events. We're really leaning into the ability to get people in person again at the library. So we had one back in February with the person who's the sustainability director for our municipal trash and recycling provider. And she told us a million tips and tricks about recycling, really interesting stuff. And then just last week, we had one with Sean, who had been a member of this committee, who is also a professor at Tufts, very focused on food and nutrition and the impact of climate on food, as opposed to food on climate, but like the impact of ooh, Julie, we're here in an echo. Oh, you got it. The impact of climate change on the food we get and the food quality. So he did a great presentation last week. WCAT recorded it for us, so I'm hoping we'll get the video recording of that soon. And we'll send out a follow-up with info about that. And then we're hosting an in-person field trip to the MRF, the materials recovery facility, where our recycling goes to get sorted and recycled. That's coming up at the end of this month. If you had expressed interest but have not yet RSVP'd directly to me that you're coming, please do so. We have a limited number of spots available. And if you were not aware and you're now really interested in participating, send me an email and we'll try to get you in one of those remaining spots. It's going to be really fun.
Can you remind us when that is?
Yes, it is Wednesday, May
31st.
Thank you. It's Wednesday, May 31st at 4 p.m. And I suspect that it'll be amazing and we'll do another one at some other type of time and day in the future. So if you missed this one, it's not the last time to see a MRF. We also go to, as Melissa mentioned, various town events and opportunities to, have a table and tell people about the stuff we're doing. So we've got the STEAM event coming up. I believe we're going to be trying to do some farmers markets when farmers markets start back up. And we just ordered a tablecloth made of post-consumer recycled material for when we table. It's going to be real handsome. That should be here, not in time for tomorrow's event, but in time for
with our committee name on it.
Yes. Sorry, not just a plain tablecloth. It's their name, little leaf town logo. It's very nice, very nice. I missed anything? Oh, and William is trying to set us up with Instagram so that we can be hip, in addition to Facebook.
We have a new one, Tatiana. We're going to be on WCAT scrolling, whatever that's called.
Yes. So Robin developed a bunch of good content that WCAT's going to put on in their, like interstitial between videos, like advertisement sort of things, similar content to some of the posts we've done. So yeah, thank you, Robin, for doing that. So WCAT's gonna start including some of our content there too. All of these things just take, someone putting the words together, and then we can put them on a bunch of different platforms. So if you're interested, let me know. We're eager to have more committee members, spread the work around. Historically, we've met on Monday evenings, but I think since only William and I remain, if there are new folks who are interested, we can take a look at calendars and pick a different time. I think that's all I've got.
All right. So I guess new people, if you're interested in any of the subcommittees, reach out to the people who spoke about them. If you can't remember who spoke on what committee, email me, I'll tell you. And I can also, give the email address if you can't find it or whatnot. All right. So next we do updates from our member groups. So basically representatives from other groups in town. So we have our student members. Do you have any updates to provide?
Nothing much that I know of.
Did you guys do anything for Earth Month?
I think this as spring starts, a lot of people are doing sports. So in general, the cycling club is in low numbers at this time, but we're working to get some of them back.
Yeah, I remember a couple meetings ago I talked about like setting up a green team. And so I've been talking to the one of the science teachers, because she's setting up a science club for next year. So we're talking about maybe incorporating some green stuff in there.
That's great.
When you say green team, do you mean one of the official ones from the state that comes with curriculum and information?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. We were just gonna try and plan it and figure out and try and launch it at the beginning of next year. So maybe I can get the teacher in contact with one of you to help us figure out what we could do.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
And do you have those resources? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I can send along that information. All right, thank you. So we already heard from Eileen, who's our school committee representative, who just got back from Ireland. Next, we have our DPW representative, Anne.
So we just finished up our at-home compost sale. So we sold earth machines for half the price of what they sell for. So they're only $25. So we sold 40, which is great. The pickup's next Wednesday. So that was a little more than we thought we would sell. Maybe the price was enticing. So we used some of our RDP money to get the price under $30, which used to be the threshold to gain points for next year's RDP. But they just sent out the RDP recently, and that showed that you only have to do half the retail price. So it was worth the money. I think it's great to get 40 more people composting at home, which is great. And then it'll get us a point for next year's the 24 RDP points. So that was good. I'm currently working on the RDP grant. So some of you will hear from me because I might have questions, see what we can get to be eligible. And then we'll do a lot of work in the next 30 days. So it's due June 15th. So you'll see some more work from us because we're finding ways we could get more points. So one of them is the smart, the Recycle Smart handouts, that shows you we have to put those in other languages. So I'm working on that now. You'll see those on the website. We'll do a school distribution. We'll drop some at the library, things like that. So.
How are we doing on the curbside compost units
We're
available?
423 is where we are right now.
Yeah, it was like 416 a month ago. Like it's not moving quickly.
Yeah, so we were up to 417 in the fall, and then when I talked to Connor, who's the owner of Black Earth, he said during the winter a lot of people will drop off. They either are not home or it's too hard. And then he said you build back up. So I'm hoping we'll build back up by the fall. I think we still have 18 compost starter kits that are available for people that are free. And we'll revisit that as we get closer to the number. That would be 300 that we gave out.
Yeah.
Melissa asked me to work on seeing if I could get Black Earth to go to the farmer's market. More of a struggle than I thought it was going to be, but still working on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get an answer from the farmer's market manager, whether we can store anything in that shipping container they have there. Robin, you probably know if it's like
What kind of stuff? Like
a compost bin.
You mean just like the sidewalk size?
I was thinking
probably bigger.
Yeah.
Like recycling bin size.
Have you seen the one at the food pantry? It's a 64-gallon, similar to the one curbside trash.
That could be tight in there, unless they did the cleanup that they should have done.
We should talk about it because we're also we're going to do bike valet at the farmers market this year, and I think what's going to happen. I'm still working it out, and I might need your help. But we have portable bike racks that the DPW owns, and they're going to probably be bringing those down every Saturday or Friday night or Saturday morning. I haven't figured out the logistics yet, but maybe they can be one big drop off of everything.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the pickup because Black Earth's in town on Thursdays, so they're not here on Saturdays. So they were going to try to check and see if there was a route or whatever, but it's difficult for them to get here at the end of the farmer's market.
I see. That makes sense.
I'm afraid to leave the bin out there.
Oh yeah, you can't leave it out. You'll get
for many reasons, but I'm afraid to leave it out there.
So is the size based on thinking that people could bring their at-home compost, or are you just looking to collect compost from the market's waste? Because Rob on a few occasions bought his personal sidewalk, or somehow he had a spare one, and we never exceeded the what are those 55 or like the sidewalk ones. That was never.
Yeah, those are like 15 gallons, right?
They're 15 gallons, yeah. So
I think the 13 for the small ones at the curb. Yeah. So that's sure. And then if someone bring it home, we could pick it up at their house on Thursdays. I mean.
Yeah, I don't think we would necessarily want people to bring their compost to market. Yeah, it would mostly just be for at the market usage.
Yeah, because some people will eat fruits, veggies right there, so they generate waste. In the past, there's been folks that did food demonstrations that use compostable little trays and stuff, but it isn't a lot of volume unless something has changed. But I can understand, where does it go from Saturday at 1 o'clock to Thursday?
Right.
Also would be like seasonal, right? If like people are husking corn on a late summer, that's going to produce more waste than early spring.
Yeah, I was thinking like the farmers, like each stand, whatever waste that they produce could go into that bin.
Some of them may actually take the corn husk back. I'm trying to think if Farmer Dave does.
They are actually composting for the farm, yeah. Anyway, just thinking of sources of compostables, it should be seasonal, but yeah, if you're not seeing it today, you're not gonna, it's not like we're gonna suddenly generate more.
Christina?
Today, there's none, sorry, because there's not when a lot of the farmer's market, but the point being that it should be seasonal is all I'm saying.
Just throwing this idea out there, but of the 18 starter kits, is it possible that we could get one for this like committee? And then if it's at the farmer's market, like I compost, I have it on Thursday, so like I could pick it up at the end of the farmer's market, bring it. I don't know if that helps to close that gap at all, but
Yeah, we would just need to figure out like if we want a big bin or not.
right. If it ends up being that smaller.
But yes, if it's a small one, absolutely, we can donate 2 of them. That's
Right,
fine.
like,
Yeah.
right, something like that, and then a couple of us, again,
Sure.
not, something like
Yeah.
that.
Thank you.
Right, I wouldn't want to be responsible for taking it from the farmer's market every week, but I would certainly take it a few times over the course of the summer, since I get a bin picked up on Thursdays also. Maybe
Yeah,
we can
I do
switch
as
that
well.
around.
Happy to do that.
Probably come up with a schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be doable.
Awesome.
But just a
Yeah.
matter of, whether we think, I need to get some more information from the farmer's market manager on what she thinks would be the best option. We want to do a big one, or we just try the small one, see how it goes.
Have you thought, from a waste standpoint, Lilac Hedges back, they have pigs. Would they want it instead? Instead of it going to Black Earth, just see if they have any. Well, I guess you can't do like the spoons and stuff, but I don't know if they would take stuff with them or not. I mean, the drivers are going back to their farm.
I mean, Black Earth doesn't really take like plastics anyways, so.
No, not the plastics, but I mean, like, some people use the bamboo spoons and stuff, which it is stamped with the, but I was saying if it's just about trying to collect food waste, thought of approaching the farm and not use Black Earth, so same waste reduction, just different destination.
Yeah. Can look into that too. Okay. Thanks, Anne. Julie?
I don't have a, sorry, my computer's dead and I left my charger at work. Sorry. I don't have a whole lot other than Melissa did a great job at giving her annual update on everything. And probably the only other thing I have is that the bike pedestrian plan is finally being finished, and we'll probably have another public meeting on that sometime in June before it's finalized. That's about all I have.
Alrighty. Yeah, so we usually have someone from WMGLD here, Tom Botcher, who's a commissioner on the utilities board. He's not here tonight, but he usually gives an update. Our next meeting, which is the second Thursday of the month, is June 8th at 7 o'clock, as we do every time. And so matters unanticipated, one thing I had was the farmer's market. So we need to sign up for a table, and 2 possible dates that I wanted to run by people to see if their availability is July 15th or the 29th. So basically what we did last year is set up a nonprofit table at the farmer's market and have lots of educational materials and sorry, my dog's barking. Educational materials, like I said before, looking to get volunteers involved. And if we have any events to promote, we do it there. So stuff like that. So is anybody, what works better for people, July 15th or the 29th? We probably will do like shifts of people sitting at the table and talking to people.
I'm traveling on the 15th, but the 29th is all right from my end.
I'm the opposite. I think as long as we have 2 people like available at all the times.
I'm available either one of them.
I am too.
29th is better for me.
Okay.
Let's do both.
She may not. She does like to have that table available on rotation for
Oh, I
other
see.
nonprofits.
Hmm.
But we could do one in like September, October again too.
Yeah. Okay, sounds
Right,
like.
what was the set of dates available?
Yeah, there was a bunch
July
of,
15 or 29, and then there was like
yeah, there was a
September-ish.
bunch of other dates that I
Oh, okay.
need to find, but those were, I think, the ones that were the best for me, at least. Okay, so it sounds like the 29th works for a bunch of people, so I will sign us up for the 29th and then look into possible other dates for the fall.
Is the idea that it's like multiple separate hours throughout the day?
Yeah, so you can come and help out for like an hour, 2 hours. Yeah, so kind of rotate people at the table. All right.
Melissa, speaking of tables, festival at the lake. We have once participated. I don't know people's thoughts on having a table within the municipal area. I think DPW often has a table on promoting the compost and stuff like that. So I have a question if we want, or I'll have a table. And the second part is any word on them having composting available for all that food that they provide and sell.
Who are the people that organize that?
It's the Wakefield Center Neighborhood Association. I talked to them pre-COVID. We had asked them whether they would help us. Remember, we were going to do like a year of demonstrating zero waste. And they were keen on it. I haven't approached them with this kind of, they were back last year, I think at an odd time, right? Like the fall, not the summer. So I haven't approached them on it. It's probably too late now. But if we wanted to have like something with I'm sure we could share DPW table, right, Ann?
Absolutely, we'd be happy to have you.
When does the water truck arrive?
Oh, I
so-
hear it. So, do you know anything about it, Ann?
I checked on it Friday. It was it's in production and it was getting painted this week. So not the graphics, just painted.
So will it be available at the farmer's market? I mean, at the Festival of Lake, will that be its debut?
No, I don't think it'll make it by then.
It's in Canada, apparently.
Oh,
I'm hoping for a July delivery, but I had talked to the NWRA and they had just ordered one and they said that they got a notice that they were 3 months behind. So I check on it every few weeks to see how it's going.
But you said it was going to be at the farmer's market, right?
No,
Oh, okay, it's not.
yeah, not that I know of. I haven't got a delivery date yet.
Once it gets here, it's going to be everywhere now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know so we ordered a water truck. The MWRA has one, but we got one for the town so that every event we can do, people can bring their own bottles and not plastic. We're going to really try to cut down on plastic.
Yeah, Julie's gonna haul that truck all around town.
It's my legacy, that stupid truck. I hear it's costing more than it was supposed to. But I was the only counselor who didn't ask for like $1 million for something. I just wanted the water truck.
That's all I want.
That's all I wanted was a water and a bathroom at the lake. Which we're getting to.
Awesome. Any other matters not anticipated? All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, this is where we go around and say, do you want to adjourn or
no,
not?
did someone second the motion?
Yeah, Julie did.
No, I moved it. Somebody else.
She moved it.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All right, Chris,
Aye.
Tiana,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Lillian,
Yes.
Stefan,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Thanks, everybody. It was great to meet you, the new people, and look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thanks. Good night.
Bye.